They don't need chains to hold you. They don't need cages to trap you. They don't even need love to keep you at their side. The truth is far more dangerous. The strongest form of control doesn't feel like control at all. It feels like desire. It feels like longing. It feels like choice when in reality, the choice was never yours. Over a century ago, Friedrich Nietzsche warned us, humanity is not ruled by reason, but by something deeper, something darker, or cravings. The tactic that enslaves you isn't force, it's seduction. The trick of making you believe you are free, while every step of your will is being guided by someone else. And here's the terrifying part. This isn't rare. It's not reserved for tyrants or masterminds. It's happening to you right now. In your relationships, in your career, in your habits, even in how you spend your time. Nietzsche once wrote, "People don't want the truth. They want illusions." And illusions are the stage where seduction performs its greatest trick-making. You feel chosen while you are being used. Most think seduction means flattery, beauty, charm, candlelit dinner, a whisper in the dark. But Nietzsche saw something far more sinister. The most dangerous seducer isn't the one who drowns you in attention. It's the one who withholds it, who gives you just enough to feel seen, then disappears, who leaves you aching, desperate for more. That ache becomes the leash, an invisible rope pulling you back again and again, even when logic screams to run. And here's the cruelest part. You don't recognize it while it's happening. You call it chemistry. You call it destiny. You call it love. But what you're really feeling is dependency, craving engineered by someone who knows exactly how to press the right buttons in your nervous system. Think back to the person you couldn't stop chasing, even when they ignored you, to the company you swore you'd quit supporting, but kept returning to, the belief system you defended, even while doubting it. Why did you stay? Because the seducer knew. The secret Nietzsche revealed, if you can make someone feel they freely chose their chains, you never have to force them. That is the darkest seduction. The leash disguised as love, the trap disguised as loyalty, the manipulation disguised as devotion. Desire is a drug, and the clever seducer knows how to dose it. Never too much, never too little. Just enough to keep you uncertain, unsteady, aching. For their return, psychologists today call this intermittent reinforcement. Nietzsche didn't have the words, but he saw the truth. Whoever controls the rhythm of presence and absence, reward and denial, holds absolute power over the human will. And if you think this is only about romance, you've already fallen for the illusion, because this pattern is everywhere. Religions promising paradise, but only after the terror of damnation. Governments offering safety while feeding fear of enemies, real or imagined. Corporations selling freedom, but only if you keep consuming. The formula never changes. Awaken desire, withhold satisfaction. Convince people that without youth will collapse. Nietzsche saw it clearly. Societies are not held together by truth. They are held together by illusions. Illusions designed to keep people hungry enough to obey. Now, think about your own life. That person who gave you a taste of love, then withdrew until you begged to prove yourself. That friend who praises you in public, but keeps you second-guessing in private. That workplace that tells you you're part of the family, then reminds you how replaceable you are. None of itis random. It's the same formula. Some seduction Nietzsche warned us of. And dense, you see it. You can never unsee it. Because here is his most brutal truth. The strongest seduction is not in what is given. It's in what is withheld. The reason this tactic works so well is simple. Human beings crave meaning. Want to feel. Wanted. We want to feel Chisin. We want to believe there is something out there that gives us worth. The seducer hijacks this instinct. They dangle worth like a prize, then pull it away to keep you running. They control your hunger. And when they control your hunger, they control you. And here's the truth Nietzsche wanted us to face. If you don't see the game, you will always be at peace on someone else's board. You'll think you're loving when you're in. You'll think you're loyal when you're just useful. You'll think you're free when you're already trapped. Most people live their whole lives inside this illusion. They call their canes destiny. They defend their captors as soulmates. They would manipulators as saviors. But the moment you see it, the moment you strip away the mask, everything changes. You begin to see that the darkest seduction is not about attraction, it's about dependence. It's about making you believe you can't live without someone when, in fact, they cannot exist in power without you. And that's just the beginning, because Nietzsche's warning doesn't stop here. There is a second layer to this seduction, a deeper tactic, one that doesn't just manipulate what you want, it rewrites who you are. And on Seo, understand that you will never look at desire, at relationships, or at yourself the same way again. The first trap nature revealed was desire, the game of scarcity and reward. But that's only the surface. Because in someone has you chasing them, Onstave made you desperate for what only they can give. They begin the next phase of seduction, and this one is far darker. It doesn't just control what you want, it reshapes who you are. This is where seduction turns into identity, where you stop saying, I want them, and start whispering, I am nothing without. And that's when the real damage begins. Nature observed something most people too afraid to admit. Human beings are always searching for mirrors. We don't just want to be loved. We want Tobe reflected. We want someone to confirm woe we believe we are or who we hope to become. The seducer knows this. They study your wounds, your insecurities, your secret danger for recognition, and then they do same a thing, terrifyingly simple. They mirror back the version of yourself you most want to see. That's why the most dangerous metapious bar manipulator often feel like a soulmate. They don't force you, they reflect you. They say through words you've always longed to hear. They play the role you've been waiting for since childhood. And before you know it, you've stopped asking whether they're true. You just keep feeding on their reflection. Nietzsche called this the illusion of becoming. When another person convinces you that only through them will you discover your true self. But here's the dark twist. Their reflection is always a mask. And on Seo, mistake it for reality. You hand them the power to define you. When seduction rewrites identity, it kills freedom in silence. Think about it. That person who convinces you that without them you're unworthy. That boss who makes you believe your value is tied to their approval. That ideology that promises you purpose, but only if you obey. At first, you think you're being lifted up, but over time, you begin to shrink. You sacrifice more of yourself to keep their reflection alive. You let go of your voice, your boundaries, your doubts until one day you wake up and realize you don't know who you are anymore. Your identity has been rewritten by someone else's story. Nietzsche warned of this trap again and again. He wrote, "Whoever despises himself still respects himself as one who..." In other words, even in self-hatred, there is still a fragile thread of selfhood. But the darkest seduction spheres, even that, it leaves you not despising yourself, but forget enjoyed. And what could be more terrifying than losing the very sense of woe you are? Here's where it gets even darker. Sesame rewrites your identity. They didn't stop there. They begin to rewrite your memories. Think about the toxic relationship where you only remember their good moments while excusing second-hand pain. Think about the manipulative leader who tells a story so many times you begin to doubt your own version of events. Think about the times you swore you'd walk away, but later convinced yourself it wasn't that bad. This is not weakness. It's seduction working at its highest level. By controlling which moments you cling to, the seducer controls your past. And when someone controls your past, they control your present and your future. Nietzsche understood that memory is not fixed. It is elastic, fragile, vulnerable to suggestion. He saw how easily it can be bent to serve theories others want us to believe, and the seducer, the manipulator, the systempet feeds off you. They know this. This is why Nietzsche was so merciless. In his attacks on institutions of power beckers, he saw that seduction wasn't just personal, it was political, it was spiritual. Religions made people believe their very worth was tied to obedience. That identity itself was sinful, broken, needing to be redeemed by someone else. That without the church, without the Savior, without the dogma, you were a nothing. Governments did the same with nationalism, convincing individuals that their value came only from serving the nation, from dissolving their identity into that crowd. And in love, the game repeats. The partner who makes you believe you are incomplete. Without them, the one who convinces you that leaving them means losing yourself. Seduction at this level isn't about charm anymore. It's about independence is degraded of identity. Here's the question Nietzsche wanted us to face. How much of who you are is real you, and how much is what someone else has seduced you into becoming? Look closely. Do you believe you're unworthy because someone treated you that way? Do you believe you're valuable when you're useful to someone else? Do you chase validation because someone else made you doubt your right to exist without it? If so, your identity has already been rewritten. You've already been seduced into forgetting yourself. And that's the real tragedy Nietzsche saw in humanity. Not that people are weak, not that they are emotional, but that they are so quick to abandon their own truth. For a reflection, someone else suffers them. The reason most never break free from this trap is simple. It feels good. It feels good to be mirrored. It feels good to be chosen. It feels good to believe someone holds the key to your worth. And so people cling to the very chains that bind them. They defend the very people, are draining them. They sacrifice freedom at the altar of comfort. Nietzsche called this the slave morality. The mindset of those who trade their true strength for the illusion of belonging. He hated it. Not because he hated people, but because he saw how it crushed the human spirit. So where does that leave you? Because no, the mirror is in front of you. You can keep chasing the reflections others give you, the approval, the validation, the temporary highs, or you can turn inward and begin their harder path, reclaiming your own reflection, defining your worth by your own standards, refusing to be rewritten by unknown's seduction, no matter how sweet it feels in the moment. This is the choice Nietzsche believed only Thestronist could make. To walk away from the easy seduction of dependence and to face the terrifying but liberating reality of self-ownership. But we are not finished yet, because fear is still one layer deeper. The tactic, beyond desire, beyond identity, beyond dependence. Tactic nature, described as the most corrupting force of all. The one that doesn't just seduce your feelings or white your self-image, but twists morality itself into a weapon against you. And once you see that layer, you'll understand why nature believed most people are not living free lives at all, but scripted ones, bound by values they never chose. If you thought seduction was dark before, wait until you see how morality itself can be turned into thickrest seduction of all. You've already seen how seduction burgeons. First, it captures your desire, then it rewrites your identity. But Nietzsche warned of an even deeper layer, one so powerful that entire civilizations have been bent to its will. It is the seduction not of a person, not of a relationship, not of an institution, but of morality itself. Because once someone convinces you that their rules are sacred, that their values are universal, that their morality is the truth they no longer need to seduce you with desire or identity, you will chain yourself in the name of virtue. This is the darkest seduction of all. From the time you were a child, you were told what is good and what is evil. Be kind, be loyal, be obedient, be honest. But nature saw through the illusion. Her recognized that morality is not universal. It is designed. It is written by the powerful to serve the powerful. It is a script handed to you, so you will play your part without question. This is he said, morality is the herd instinct in the individual. It doesn't grow from your soul. It is injected into aware. It seduces you into believing you are righteous, while making sure you never threaten the order of those above you. Think about how irresistible this seduction is. When you're told you're good, you feel safe. You feel superior. You feel chosen, but the cost is hidden. Being good often means silencing your instincts. It means swallowing your reg when someone crosses you. It means staying quiet in the face of injustice. Becca's rocking the boat would make you. It means being loyal to those who have never been loyal to you. And so morality becomes the softest, most velvet chain of all. It doesn't feel like oppression. It feels like virtue. This is why nature despised what heckled slave morality. The morality that itches you to love weakness, to celebrate obedience, to worship suffering. The morality that seduces you into thinking your chains are crowns. How power uses morality. Look at history. Nations told young men it was good to march into wars that only benefited rulers. Religions told Thepper it was good to stay meek, because authorities would reward them later. Corporations tell workers it's good to sacrifice their lives for the company's growth. Always the same game. Rebrand obedience as virtue. Rebrand suffering as holiness. Rebrand slavery as loyalty. Nietzsche's fury came from seeing how morality seduced people into sacrificing their power willingly, not because they were forced, but because they believed they were being righteous. Hooray, where this tactic becomes lethal, because nothing seduces the human spirit more than the idea of noble sacrifice. You'll give up your freedom if you'll be it. Makes you a good partner. You'll give up your ambition if you'll believe. It makes you a good child. You'll give up your truth if you believe it. Makes you a good citizen. And all through Heil, the ones who wrote the script of goodness are feeding off your sacrifice. This is why Enzi's words remain so dangerous even today. Because he diretto say morality is not truth. It is strategy. It is seduction disguised as sentinel law. Why most never see it. Most people will live and die without ever questioning the morality they inherited. Why? Because it feels sacred. It feels startable. It feels too terrifying to imagine that the rules you've built your life around might be lies designed to control you. And that's exactly why it works. Morality seduces not with beauty, not with scarcity, but with fear. Fear of being bad, fear of being rejected, fear of exile, fear of hell. And so people cling to the rules, not because they are true, but because breaking them feels unbearable, the escape. Nietzsche's solution was radical, almost unthinkable. He told us that to truly live free, we must dare to create our own values, to step outside the morality handed down by priests, rulers, lovers, and leaders, and carve new ones from our own strength. He called this the path of the Übermensch, the one who is not seduced by Theffel's morality of the herd, but who shapes their own truth. But here's the catch. This path is not easy, it is lonely. It requires breaking the spell of seduction again and again until you are strong enough to live without borrowed values, and most will never dote. They will keep calling obedience you. They will keep mistaking weakness for kindness. They will keep calling seduction love, the final dark warning. So, here you stand at the edge of Nietzsche's abyss. You've seen how seduction works. First, it manipulates your desire. Then, it rewrites your identity. And finally, it whisks morality itself into a leash around your soul. This is the full scope of the darkest seduction tactic ever used on humanity. And now that you've seen it, you can never unsee it. Every promise will look different. Every system will feel different. Every smile, every vow, every good you've been told will carry the weight of suspicion, because nature wanted you to realize a thought. The greatest danger is not being led to by others. It is living forever inside the lies you never questioned. Your choice now so. The question isn't whether seduction surrounds you. It always has. The question is whether you'll keep being God's victim, or whether you'll use Nietzsche's warning to break the spell. Because the truth is this, the darker seduction isn't about them. It's about too. About whether you'll keep trading your freedom for the comfort of illusions, or whether you'll take the horrifying step into self-mastery. And if you do, the world will never look the same again. Asterisk. Thanks for listening. See you in next one.